Hey there, Bill Stainton here with Turning Creativity into Money. There's an activity I do with my clients a lot of times, whether it's during a keynote or a breakout session, a workshop, an online team innovation lab, something like that. And it's an activity about making connections because that's what innovation is all about. It's making connections. So I'm not going to go over the whole activity here, but basically I show them a bunch of different words or objects or something, and I ask them as a group in little teams to come up with as many connections as they can. And typically I give them around 7 minutes for this activity. And here's what's interesting. It happens almost all the time. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but at least like in the high 80s to mid 90s% of the time. While they're working, I'm kind of hanging back, listening to the buzz of the room, the activity. You can hear it. It's palpable because, they're talking, they're working together. And remember, I've given them 7 minutes to come up with as many combinations, as many connections as they can think of, given whatever parameters that I've assigned. And here's what almost always happens. It starts off strong. There's a buzz, and you feel the activity and the energy as they're talking and they're coming up with things. And there's laughter and there's thinking and that sort of thing. And that goes on for about the first 4 minutes. And after about minute number 4, there's almost invariably this lull. And you hear it. The volume goes down and it stays there for about 30 seconds or sometimes. It can seem really uncomfortable. But then it almost invariably picks up again and finishes strong. When I call time at the end of 7 minutes, it's usually back to where it was at the beginning. Now here's the interesting thing. What's actually happening here? Well, for the first 4 minutes, give or take, what are they doing? Well, they're coming up with the easy answers, aren't they? The ones that are kind of obvious, the ones that everybody else would come up with. And then when it gets to that like 4-ish minute mark and that lull happens, that's when they think of, well, we're done. We're out of ideas. But because I've told them that they have to do this for 7 minutes, they eventually start getting back into it. Now, here's something interesting. During the debrief, I talked to them about this phenomenon. I said, how many of you noticed that? And almost every hand goes up. I say, now, here's a question for the groups that are here. How many of you came up with good ideas after the lull? Almost every group raises their hand. I say, and there's no right or wrong answer here. Did any of you come up with some of your best ideas after the lull? Fewer hands go up, but hands do go up. Almost every single time, there's at least a few groups that came up with some of their best ideas after the lull. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because it's about you and your competition. See, the lull, when you're trying to come up with new innovations for your industry, for your product line, for your services, that are similar to what your competition is offering. You go through that same activity of trying to come up with ideas for what can we do to make ourselves better, to make our products, our services more valuable to the marketplace. And your competition is doing the same thing. Here's the thing. Your competition, in all likelihood, is going to stop at the lull. Because most of us do. Most of us stop. We get to the lull and we go, well, that's it. We've exhausted it. That's all the ideas there are. But not you. Not anymore. Your competition is going to stop at the lull. What are you going to do now? You're going to keep going. Because it's the ideas that happen after the lull. Those are the ideas that the competition's probably not going to think of. They're going to come up with the easy ones, the obvious ones. Now, they don't necessarily look easy or obvious. But then the competition will stop while you keep going because you understand that that's a part of the innovative process. That's a part of the creative process, working through the lull. So when you and your team hit that lull, I want you to remember this video. And I want you to think back and go like, oh, that's right, that guy, don't remember his name, doesn't matter, but that guy said this was part of the process and that this is where the competition stops. We're not going to do that. Let's keep going. Let's give it another 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever the time, another day. Depends on the timeline for what you're trying to accomplish, but let's give it just that little bit more. Let's work past the lull. And that's going to take us to places that the competition will never see coming. I'm Bill Stainton. I'll be back next time to help you turn your creativity into money.